Well, Ottawa families and advocates say that they are struggling to find supportive housing for people living with disabilities. One Ottawa area woman says that she has been trying to find supportive living for her adult daughter for 10 years. Filipa Saraiva joins us now to tell us a little bit more about her situation. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's so wonderful to have you on. Can you first just tell us a little bit about your child and what some of those needs are?
So Anna has cerebral palsy, and we knew that after high school, she needed to go into a day program so that I could continue to work. Unfortunately, we started this process 3 or 4 years before she graduated, but still by the time she finished high school, she still did not have a spot at the 2 day programs that exist in our area.
And you've been looking for supportive housing for her for a decade. It's a long time of frustration. Can you tell us, what has that been like for you and your family?
It's been very hard. There's a lot of insecurity, not knowing what will happen to my daughter if something happens to me. There's no security blanket. I would know where she would go. She would probably end up in a hospital bed or in long-term care, waiting for a spot, waiting for somebody to die so that she could have a spot in a supportive housing. That's unbearable for a parent to be able to cope with that. How do you sleep at night when you don't know what's going to happen to your child?
And not having that support, I know you've been struggling to find it with Anna. How has that impacted her specifically?
Well, she's been home. I had to leave my job. I took a leave of absence. I'm an educator with the school board. I had to take a leave of absence because she doesn't have anywhere. Those are you. She doesn't have anywhere to go during the day. I don't have enough hours of PSW support. She doesn't have a day program to go to. We don't have accessible transportation to and from program. We don't have enough respite hours. It's a really complicated situation. And so, this affected her because, yeah, she has lost skills. She stayed home. It's very isolating to not have any friends or community to be involved in.
Yeah, you can hear about the massive struggle that you've had so far. From this point moving forward, what would you like the first step to be taken to ensure that you get that support?
We need more social services. Parents are desperate. I speak with other families who are in the same situation that we are. We don't have enough social supports. We don't have enough day programs. We don't have enough PSW hours. We don't have enough home support. Parents are carrying the load for the care of their children 24/7, and it's just unbearable. We can't cope for 10, 20, 30, 40 years caring for our children 24/7 when the supports are not there.
Well, Filipa, we really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning talking about your situation, and for Anna joining us as well.
Thank you for having us.
I want to bring in Al Roberts now. He's with the Ottawa Carleton Association for Persons with Disabilities. We were just hearing from that family. Can you tell us a little bit about some struggles that they're facing, as well as some families that you're seeing?
Sure. So I just want to clarify. I am chair of the board of the Ottawa Carleton Association for People with Developmental Disabilities, but I'm here representing all 12 agencies that provide services. My heart just aches for Filipa and Anna. I have a son with a disability. We're one of the lucky ones. We have residential care. But Filipa and Anna represent one of 53,000 families in Ontario that are still on waiting lists. In your viewer area, there's 9,400 families that are waiting for supports, whether it's residential, whether it's community participation, employment. My heart just aches for Anna.
And you talk about those concerning numbers. So let's talk about specifically here in the Ottawa region.
Yep.
How difficult is it to get that housing when you see the totals there? What needs to be done?
Well, the government has chronically underfunded this sector for 30 years. And that's really the problem, that we need an injection of revenue in order to provide service for more families. As a board, and all of the boards that I work, that we talk about, we want to bring more families into service. But all we have is funds to support the people that we have. And so we can't bring anybody new in. And so it's not until someone passes away that a spot becomes available. And that's untenable. For someone like Anna, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that her and her family have been waiting for 10 years.
And you talk about that you need the support from the government. I think that's your first step right now.
Yeah,
you need more.
Absolutely.
You need more federal support. But what are some of the dangers that adults with disabilities face right now in this situation, like we've heard from Anna?
Yeah. So it's provincial support that we need. It's the Ministry of Community, Children and Social Services that we work with. They're being very collaborative. We work well with them. This government is listening to us. They are starting to hear us. But some of the difficulties that adults face, if someone ends up with a developmental disability and they have a level of independence that allows them to begin to live on their own, then what we're finding is all too often, because Ontario disability support payments are so low, they end up, homeless, living in shelters, not being able to find safe accommodation. That can lead to things like they're mixing with the wrong people. Nobody thinks about people with disabilities in terms of drug addiction.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, women particularly end up in sex trafficking and things like that in order to support their drug addiction or to find housing. So those are some of the things that we're starting to see in the sector that make this even more alarming.
Yeah, it's very dangerous getting into this area. Hopefully you can find more provincial support in this situation for situations like Anna. But Al, we really appreciate you coming and shining some light on that today.
Thanks a lot, Will.